What's going on, everybody? Josh Engleman for Awesemo.com, and I am back with my NFL DFS top fives for week 9 on DraftKings. Now be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Follow me on Twitter at Josh Engleman. Let me know in the comment section, who are some of your favorite and least favorite plays out of my top fives for this week? Finally, shout out to Jock Market for being the presenting sponsor of this video. Use the promo code Awesemo when signing up. You get a little bit of extra cash on that first deposit. You guys can see the defenses on the screen. Now we are on our way to the top 5 tight ends. First up at number 5, we've got Kyle Pitts. He is 5,900, projected for 14.5. The Falcons are taking on the Saints. It's a 6-point line, 41.5 point total. This is actually the number 10 offense, but very difficult matchup. The number 3 defense. It's not a huge spot for Pitts. Chances of going for more than 30 are pretty low, but a 9% chance to be in the optimal lineup. Kyle Pitts is a perfectly acceptable tight end option this week. But as you can see, we're stepping up in tier now. Next up at number 4, we've got Dallas Goedert, 4,500, projected for 12 fantasy points. Eagles are 1.5 point dogs, 49.5 point total against the Chargers. It's the number 16 offense against the number 16 defense. Can't have a more equal matchup than that. No real chance for Goedert to go for north of 30, but a 14% likelihood to be in the optimal. Goedert taking advantage of the opportunities that he got now that Zach Ertz isn't with Philadelphia. At number 3, we're looking at Mike Gesicki, 4,900, projected for 13.5 fantasy points. Miami's in a great spot. They are 5.5 point favorites against Houston, 46.5 point total. This is the number 21 offense against the second worst defense. Again, all from PFF. It's not a big 30-plus point day for Gesicki, but the value is just there. That's what happens when you get to face Houston. 15% of the time, Mike Gesicki is in the optimal lineup. And I think that looks pretty good for this week. Next up at number 2, we've got Darren Waller, 6,200, projected for 17 fantasy points. The Raiders are taking on the Giants, 3-point favorites, 46.5 point total. The number 7 offense against the number 28 defense. Waller can actually hang a big score here. There's a 3% chance that he goes for more than 30 and a 17% likelihood that he is in the optimal lineup. I would have assumed Darren Waller looked the best here, but we do have one guy that's outpacing everyone. And that would be Albert O, 2,600, projected for almost 10 fantasy points. The Broncos are 10-point dogs, 49 point total. The number 19 offense against the Cowboys' number 21 defense. This is a fantastic spot at a salary that just doesn't represent his involvement for this Sunday. We're not talking about a guy that's going to have a monster ceiling, but a 23% likelihood to be in the optimal, because at 2,600, you need very little. If he happens to get into the end zone, you're likely to need him no matter what. It's going to be a really good spot. He is my number 1 tight end. First guy up at wideout is $5,100 Jarvis Landry, projected for almost 15 fantasy points. Cleveland's taking on Cincinnati. Very close game. 2.5 point line. Cleveland actually an underdog. 47 point total. That looks pretty good. The 5th ranked offense against the 27th ranked defense. Fantastic spot for Cleveland. 18% likelihood for Jarvis Landry to end up in the optimal. You're really looking at him here from a volume perspective. You're looking for the receptions, and I don't know if it's going to matter or not. Probably not, since he's not really there all that frequently, but no more Odell Beckham Jr. Now we've got someone with a real ceiling at number 4, Tyreek Hill, 7,900, projected for almost 21 fantasy points. Kansas City, 7.5 point favorites, 48 point total against Green Bay. This is the number 4 offense against the number 12 defense. 14% of the time, Tyreek Hill's going for more than 30 here. 18% likelihood to be in the optimal. I like this price. I guess I like this matchup. I mean, the number 12 defense isn't all that problematic. So if you're going to pay up, I see no reason to avoid Tyreek Hill. Back to the Browns and Bengals game for $5,300 T. Higgins, projected for 15. Cincinnati is on the right side of this line, 2.5 point favorites, 47 point total. Really difficult matchup defensively, though. This is the number 2 defense at PFF. Middle of the pack offense for the Bengals. 1% of the time, T. Higgins might get you over 30 fantasy points, so don't expect that too much. You're going here for the value and the stackability. 21% chance for T. Higgins to be in the optimal. That works enough for me, whether you're using him in a Bengals stack or bringing him back on the opposite side of a Cleveland stack. Off to Dallas now for number 2, $5,700 Amari Cooper, projected for 16. Great matchup for Dallas. 10-point favorites, 48-point total against Denver. The 3rd-ranked offense against the 18th-ranked defense. There's some ceiling here. 2.5% chance to go for more than 30. 21% likelihood to be in the optimal. That's tied with T. Higgins. Cooper looks good. Higgins looks good. They're just shy of that number 1 spot. And that number 1 guy is $4,800 Hunter Renfrow. Projected for 14.5. Raiders are in a great spot against the Giants. I mentioned their favorites in New York. 46-point total, bad defense, and we all know why, but Renfrow is going to have to be able to get a little bit more work. No more Henry Ruggs here for the Raiders. It's not a high ceiling game, 0.3% chance that he gets north of 30, but the volume should be here in droves, especially at this salary. 22% of the time Renfrow's in the optimal, and he is right now my favorite wide receiver. Switching teams and going to the running back, $5,900 Devontae Booker is in at number 5 for running backs. 15.4 fantasy point projection. Giants, 3-point dogs. Number 17 ranked offense against the number 8 ranked Raiders defense. He's got a 1% chance to go for more than 30 and a 17% likelihood to be in the optimal. Just a perfectly reasonable option in the mid-tier. And if you think this game stays close, and the line assumes that it would, I think Booker gets the work. Next up, as part of this 3-way tie for 3rd, is number 4, Josh Jacobs, 6,200, projected for 16.5 fantasy points. We're in the opposite side of this game again, sticking around with the Raiders. That's what happens when you get a total at 46.5. The game should be close, and the other defense stinks. The 28th ranked defense is not something that's going to be slowing me down, so I would like to get to Jacobs. 1% chance to go for more than 30, 17% chance to be in the optimal, same as Devontae Booker, and same as the next person we're about to talk about. And that is Chargers running back Austin Eckler, 7,900, projected for 20.5, taking on Philly. Super close game, 1.5-point line, almost a 50-point total. 2 middle-of-the-pack offense and defenses. The number, or an 11% chance to go for more than 30. That's a big-time ceiling for Austin Eckler. 17% chance to just be in the optimal lineup. He outpaces Jacobs and Booker because there's a different kind of ceiling here, and that is what gets Austin Eckler into the 3rd spot. At number 2, we're looking to Myles Gaskin, 5,800, projected for almost 16 fantasy points. Miami's got just a dream setup here, 5.5-point favorites and a 46-point total against Houston. A very bad Houston defense. A good enough Miami offense, I guess. 1.5% likelihood for Gaskin to go for more than 30, but a 20% chance to be in the optimal lineup. You can see we took a little bit of a step up over that 3-way tie at 3rd. And we're taking another huge step up to number 1. That number 1 running back is Ezekiel Elliott, 7K, projected for 19.5. Dallas in a dream spot against Denver, 10-point favorites, 49-point total. One of the best offenses in football against a average-ish defense. 9% chance for Zeke to go for more than 30, 25% chance he's in the optimal lineup. The floor with receptions is very high, in my opinion. If he gets into the end zone once or twice, well, obviously, if he gets in the end zone twice, you need everybody. Any 2-touchdown scorer is probably going to be a guy you want. But if he has 2 touchdowns, he likely has enough targets that he's hanging a score that's probably around 30 fantasy points. 1 out of every 11 times he's going to do that? That seems like enough for me for this week. Zeke is number 1. Before we get to those quarterbacks, one last reminder to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Follow me on Twitter at Josh Engleman. Let me know in the comments section who your favorite and least favorites of my top 5s are. And finally, one last shout out for Jock Market, the presenting sponsor of this video. First up in at number 5, Tua Tagovailoa, projected for 20.5 fantasy points. He is 5,800. Miami's in that dream spot we've been talking about, 5.5-point favorites, 46.5-point total. But we're not really looking at anything too crazy here. Just because Tua is at 5, I don't see much difference between him or, say, like Tyrod Taylor at 9. 1.5% chance to go for more than 30. 8% chance to be in the optimal. I'm happy to get to Tua because the matchup looks great. He has plenty of options in terms of stackability, but nothing crazy at 5. At number 4, we've got $5,600 Daniel Jones, projected for 20.7 fantasy points. I like the Giants in this spot. I think there could be some scoring, particularly if this one stays close. 3-point dogs, 46.5-point total. It's not the best offense in the world, but it's not as bad as I expected. 17th is pretty reasonable. Number 8 defense for the Raiders is a little scary, but Daniel Jones got a little bit of upside on the ground, 10% chance to be in the optimal. That seems pretty reasonable for this week. Didn't go well last week since everyone other than Jalen Hurts got a rushing touchdown, but this week, 6,700, projected for almost 24 fantasy points. Hurts looks good. This game should stay close. There should be a ton of scoring. They're perfectly average on offense. The Chargers are perfectly average on defense. 9% chance for Hurts to go for more than 30, and an 11% chance that he is the optimal quarterback. I'm going to be going to him a lot. I generally do. I just need a little bit more out of him than I got last time. This one's kind of a no-brainer. $8,200 Josh Allen projected for almost 28 fantasy points. The Bills are 14.5 point favorites in Jacksonville, 48.5 point total. This is the number 6 offense against the number 29 defense. I don't think that there's anything else I could say that makes people think like, oh, I should probably get Josh Allen this week. 35% likelihood to go for more than 30, but still just a 13% chance to be the optimal quarterback. That should be the piece that stands out the most. We know we're going to get a couple quarterbacks that go for north of 30, but really, to be the optimal individual quarterback, you probably are the guy that's doing that at a salary that isn't $8,200. That doesn't mean you don't want to go to Josh Allen, but getting to him and some other correlated plays from Buffalo can be a little bit difficult because you end up with a little bit less salary to go through the rest of your lineup. Probably part of the reason why Pat Mahomes is number 10. But we close it out at number 1 with Lamar Jackson, just 7,300, projected for 26.5 fantasy points. Baltimore taking on Minnesota, 6-point favorites, 50-point total. The number 12 offense against the number 6 defense, but matchup be damned. I'm going to Lamar because he's got the biggest ceiling at the best price. He can score on the ground. 100-yard rushing day would not be crazy. And it's not out of the realm of possibility that it works from a passing perspective too. 25% likelihood to go for more than 30. 19% chance to be in the optimal because 7,300 just doesn't make sense this week. So Lamar Jackson is the number 1 quarterback on DraftKings. Alrighty, folks, that will do it. Those are my NFL DFS top 5s on DK for week 9. It's going to be a good one. Now be sure to hit that like button. That's what I want to see the most. Keep your eyes peeled for any updates over the weekend. Good luck. There's a FanDuel version of this video around here somewhere. Win some money. Watch the NFL First Look show at 9 a.m. on Sunday with myself and Adam Scher. And profit. That's the best you can do. Good luck, everybody.